Hello, friends, Earth citizens, and fringe dwellers. Thank you for tuning in again. This is the third episode of Cosmic Coexistence, a series I'm working on to document my alien experiences and contact experiences and everything that happened. In this episode, I will be talking about the alien technologies I remember interacting with, my hypnosis memories, as well as side effects, after effects, and residual. And I'll get more into the meat of my experiences, what it was like, and what it means, what happened, what I remember. So, I left off with the last video talking about the moment when my friend Nikki Jacobs, who's highly psychic, she picked up on the fact that myself and many other members of the what was then UFOI team who were with us at Mount Adams in South Central Washington were apparently taken up, which is her words. By that she means taken onto a ship or off planet somewhere. And after that, it sunk in to me that I had been taken off planet somewhere or actually had real contact with extraterrestrials. I will talk about who they are and what I remember and what has happened. I'd been curious about what happened, a little bit nervous too because this was like a completely new experience and territory for me to get to know. Um, Kind of a big thing at the time, 2 years ago, when I had um, obvious and real evidence that I'd been taken off planet, and then I needed to investigate what happened and what they had done. So one day I was sitting in my backyard. It was mid to early September, and it was kind of a warm day. Sun was shining, and I was sitting, sort of sunbathing, and then got to thinking that hypnosis is really just a way of accessing the subconscious mind, akashic memories, and genetic memory of the body, stored in the body. So I closed my eyes and relaxed, got into a meditative state, asked my body and mind what happened, what it could tell me about what happened if I had actual contact with extraterrestrials and what I need to know. And what came forward at that time was an image, a very clear image of a device that was some sort of handheld tool, kind of chrome and all metallic, all the same color of gray matte metal, and it looked kind of like an electric toothbrush handle with, of course, no toothbrush on it, but it had 3 prongs coming off of it, off the end, and on those prongs were a needle on each end. So it looked kind of like a 3-pronged needle instrument that would possibly be used for injecting someone with something. I had never seen this before. It definitely was not of Earth technology that I know of. So when I tuned in again to that vision and asked it what it is and tried to get more memory and information, I felt just a very cold physical and energetic shiver, and actually electrical shock too, traveled down my spine and throughout my body. And it was some sort of a direct reaction to having seen and come in contact with this device again, even though it was mental. And this is a type of memory I will be talking about more later in the series and in future videos that I would call an interactive memory. It's a memory where you can um, not only remember what happened, but interact with it in like a real time way. At one other time when I was relaxing, in a very relaxed state, I saw an image of what I call the whiteboard. It was very clear, um, nothing like I'd ever seen before, and it was sort of a mostly rectangular, about 6 foot tall board that could come out of the floor and then collapse back down into the floor. Um, an interactive panel that was sort of like touch screen, but also consciousness interactive. And it had 7 hexagonal panels on it, one in the center and then 6 around that center hexagon. This was a very odd image to me. It sort of flashed in my mind from my memory, and I went back in to see what it is. When I went back to the memory, I was also able to put myself back in that memory and look around to see what else I could remember from that moment, um, or that place. And so when I was looking around, I could see more of the room, a big, wide open room, very stark, very clean, sterile. The floors were kind of a hard, almost granite-like, um, navy bluish colored material, smooth too, but um, also you can't slip on it somehow. And the walls were kind of a darker, but not quite black color. And in the middle of the room was a slightly sunken pit that a small person could walk down a few steps, and there were, I think, 6 or 8 small chairs about the same size as a children's chair, just a fairly small chair, and then what looked like computer monitors, but they were off in the memory. As far as I recall, I don't think I ever interacted with them. Around the pit was a glass railing, and then a very wide, um, curved glass window, or I assume it looked like glass, you could see out of it. And while I was there, I also got the feeling from the memory that I was not alone, and every moment I was on that ship or that thing, that place, I was accompanied by something that was much, much taller than me, probably 8 feet tall or so. And later I would come to learn that that is one of the mantis beings, Cartana, who basically was a chaperone to me on that ship. Outside of the windows, I could see the vast expanse of black space, and off in the distance I could see a small blue planet with a tiny white moon off to the right of it, and the sun would have been to my left, shining on the planet. Um, I was looking at a mostly dark side, but partly illuminated, of the Earth, and then a similar perspective of the moon. And as far as I can figure out, that would have coincided with where the moon should have been approximately on the night of the first Mount Adams incident, alien contact, and shortly after a full moon, and I believe that was one of my memories from that night. After seeing the whiteboard and the command center, what I call the command center because it looks a lot like the command center on the Death Star, another bit of evidence is that when we were at the Monday meeting after the Mount Adams incident and we were recapping about what happened, Michael disclosed to the group and showed us at the time he had a picture of a mark that appeared on his wrist that he noticed the day he was leaving Mount Adams in late August of 2018. And it was 3 little dots, almost like needle puncture marks, and they were actually on hair follicles too, and it was in a triangle formation, so it seems that perhaps that 3-pronged needle instrument may have been used to inject Michael with something. The week after that, Michael was going into a surgical operation for a medical condition he was dealing with. Those of us who were on the UFOI team just convened without Michael and did a Facebook Live broadcast, and then after the broadcast, we had a short meditation to send healing energy to Michael. While I was thinking about him, I saw what looked similar to a fidget spinner in shape with a little round circle in the middle and 3 rounded protrusions coming off of it, but it wasn't exactly like the shape of a fidget spinner, a little bit fatter in the roundness. And I believe that was the conglomeration of nanites that were injected into Michael's wrist. While I saw that and was connected to it, I actually sent energy to it to program it for assisting with the healing of Michael W. Hall after his surgery, and then as feedback it also sent me a very clear image of what the soon-to-be future Michael would look like. And indeed, a number of months later, he did look exactly like the vision it showed me, which I didn't even know would happen at the time. Also, after the Mount Adams incident, I had noticed that occasionally, about once every month or 2 or so, for a while, when I was walking by cars, usually at night, but it also happened a few times in the daylight too. No one was around, but I'd be in a deep state of thought as I was walking down the sidewalk. And the first time it happened, it was a car parked in a driveway. The taillights and headlights flashed, and the horn honked once. It kind of startled me and caught me off guard, and I watched the car. There was nobody inside of it, nobody coming in or out of it, going to it, or also nobody moving around outside it that would have been doing anything to it. So it just did that flash when I was walking next to it. This happened a number of other times after that, but always when I'm deep in thought. This would also happen with a television, a fairly new LCD television in my mother's living room at the time, that it would be off. I'd be sitting in there, usually reading or writing or doing something kind of deep in thought. and then I would suddenly see the screen just turn on. No sound, but it would show an the same image that would say um, no source detected or something along those lines. Then I would try to turn off the screen, and then the Bose cable and sound box would turn on, and it would start making noises from the channel it was last turned to. I would turn that off, and it would actually turn off, and that would happen. That happened at least a dozen times when I was there, but nobody else would do that, or it wouldn't happen around other people. So that is a phenomena that is nicknamed streetlight interruption disorder. Also, the people who do this are known as sliders, people who seem to have an effect on not only streetlights but sometimes computers. For me, it has been cars and televisions and a couple of streetlights at times. So it's not all the time, but just occasionally it will still happen. Usually when I'm deep in thought doing something and not thinking about it. So I can't do it intentionally as far as I know. So that was one of the residual effects of the being off planet, being on what I call the sphere ship, because it looks like a gigantic sphere, like a small moon, and just being on the craft, and also I think being at one of the underground bases that these beings brought me to at times. I will get into describing a lot more of those, what happened, and possibly more importantly, what I learned and what they told me, the messages they conveyed to me through downloads and otherwise, about near future events, something that will happen that I will talk about in the next few videos. In the next video or two, I will also be describing some more of the in-depth and step-by-step memories of events that happened and my contact experiences and how it played out around Mount Adams, and even in future videos, further contact that happened in the following months. Then later in this series and in future videos, I plan on talking about not just benevolent but also malevolent extraterrestrials, the troublemakers, who I've dealt with and learned various ways of taking care of them. And I will describe that as teaching videos in the future for those who may be able to benefit. I do hope that this video and these videos in this series will be able to shed light on some of this contact scenarios and some of the programs that are going on, and I do hope that these videos also bring some clarity and perhaps even closure to contactees who may be just awakening to their involvement with a particular alien race or group, and what they may be dealing with, and how to come to terms with that, accept that, not deny it, and then be able to grow from it. Thank you all very much for tuning in again. I do enjoy making these videos. I will try to make one every Wednesday or Thursday and try to get it out at least one a week. So thank you for tuning in. Please hit like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And also please do comment. Leave questions and comments down below. If you care to share any of your experiences or have any questions, I'll try to view and reply to some of those comments within about a week when I'm able to. Be well. Until next time.